views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WPSL, but we encourage you to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because it's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, your weekend get-together, that is, with your host, the one and only, Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the show, and I'm so glad you're here today. My guest today, I've known for several years now. As a matter of fact, when Mallory Cunningham came into the studio today, I said, "Are you like 16, 17? No, she's 18. So I've known her for 3 years, and I've watched her grow and change and literally grow because she began as Miss Teenage St. Lucie County, correct?
Yes.
And that's when I first met her, and it was before the pandemic. So because of the pandemic, they didn't have a Miss Florida pageant that first year, and you continued to be Miss St. Lucie County for 2 years. And then you kind of got the pageantry bug, and you just finished competing. You are Miss South Florida.
Yes.
And you just finished competing in the Miss Florida contest. Yes. So tell me, that was just this past weekend. What were the results?
Yes, so I am Miss South Florida's teen now, and we just finished our Miss Florida competition in Lakeland. That was last week, and I placed third runner-up. So I was in the top 5, which
is so exciting.
Thank you. Yes, it was a lot of fun, and I got to be around so many incredible girls, and we got to do a lot of cool things, and I learned a lot. So it was a really good experience. So it's my last year in the teen division now. So next year I'll have to compete in the Miss. So that kind of rounded out my teen years, but it was really cool.
It is. Let's talk a little bit about the whole picture of what goes on with pageantry and how you got started. I mean, there wasn't a Miss St. Lucie County for a while when they first held the contest. What was that, back in 2018?
2019. September 2019 is when we had the first competition.
And, was it something you knew that you wanted to do?
So I had always known about Miss America. Growing up, I watched it on TV, and we saw that there was a local competition happening for the title of St. Lucie County. So I entered that, and I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into and everything that came with it, but I just fell in love with the organization. And so when I won that title, and that was when we had 2 years because of COVID. So then I went to Miss Florida that year, and I knew that I wanted to go back. So I competed again this year for the other title that I have now, and then went back to Miss Florida again.
What's the difference between Miss St. Lucie County and Miss Florida? And there's also a Miss Treasure Coast, right?
So the Miss Florida, it's all a part of the Miss America organization.
Uh-huh.
The national level is Miss America and Miss America's Outstanding Teen. The state level is all the different states. So that would be the Florida level. And then there's the local level, and the local level is St. Lucie County and South Florida and Treasure Coast and the different counties and cities and titles that they have here. So they're all just under different directors and they're all part of the same organization, but they're just different titles. So in the teen division at Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, there was, I believe, 23 girls. So there was an Orlando and a Miami and a Jacksonville, and just different titles from different areas.
Not every area then has a Miss Teen?
So no, not every city in Florida has a competition or county. A lot of them do. I mean, we have 23 girls, I think. So that's always a goal, is just creating more local competitions. But a lot of the bigger cities, like Lakeland, they have a title, and up in Tallahassee they have a title, in Capital City, that's the title there, and then they have a Broward County and a Fort Lauderdale, so, and a Tampa, so there's just different titles for different areas.
Now, Miss Florida and Miss America too, it's not just about beauty. It's been a long time since it's been just about beauty. As a matter of fact, over the years that I've watched it, it's been less about beauty and more about poise and confidence and ability and enthusiasm and knowledge. And what else would you throw in there?
Yeah, so it's really evolved from what it was when it first started, which was a typical beauty pageant contest, but now it's really changed into a scholarship competition, and they have different phases of competition that really focus on your community service and your volunteering and the girls' efforts that they put into the work that they do for their nonprofits that they have or their social impacts. So it's definitely not a beauty pageant anymore, and it's more judged on just how well the girl can have the job as Miss Florida and Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen. So it definitely has evolved a lot. Not a lot of people know that. They still kind of think of it as being just a typical beauty pageant, but it's a lot more than that. And so yeah.
When you talk about scholarships, what type of money are you talking about?
So Miss America is one of the largest scholarship provider for girls in the U.S. So the more years that you compete and higher placement that you get, the more scholarship money that you'll receive. So I have about like $700 from competing the 2 years at Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen for scholarship money. So the money goes directly towards the institution or college or university that you attend or that you're going to attend. And so the scholarship money will go directly to that to further the education.
What's the potential of what, say, if you were the top of Miss Teen America, what type of scholarship money would you receive?
Well, a lot of girls have a couple $1,000 from competing in it multiple years, and when you get to the highest level, which is the National Miss America's Outstanding Teen, they get a lot of times at state levels too, full rides to different universities. And I know at Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen you get scholarships to a couple of the colleges here in Florida and around in the Lakeland area. So you potentially could get a lot of money from competing.
One of the things that I think, as you said, some people really still think it's a beauty pageant at the national level, at the state level, or at the local level. But one of the things that I see more and more of is the visibility. And a few years ago, maybe more than a few years ago now, the girl who won Miss America did a science experiment for her talent.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more talent that's like that in competition?
Yeah, so that was Miss America last year. And she did do a science experiment for her talent, which was really different and unique and was really special because it's not normally that you would see that. So,
and the wave of the future, right?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of different talents that you can do, and it's really, you can be creative with it and do whatever talent you do best. So mine's dancing, and I've done that all my life. So that was kind of a no-brainer for me to pick dancing as my talent. But there's a lot of different talents out there and a lot of creative ones. So that's good to have an organization like Miss America that lets girls have like a creative outlet where they can showcase their talents.
Let's talk a little bit about community responsibility and demonstrating that, it's not just about winning the title. It's kind of what you do once you got the title. And people in St. Lucie County and on the Treasure Coast, they know your face and they know your name because you go out and volunteer for a lot of different things. Let's talk a little bit about some of the different things that you've been involved with.
Yeah. So community service and volunteering is a huge part of the Miss America organization, and just being a title holder, whether you're local or state or national, service is just a huge part of that. So each candidate, when they compete, have to have what's called a social impact initiative, and that's a cause that they're really passionate about. It could be a charity or a nonprofit or something that they're advocating for or bringing awareness to, and those vary from everything and anything. So my social impact initiative is Hope for the Homeless, which focuses on the homeless youth crisis. So I have a nonprofit that I co-founded with my sister and our two friends, And so I've been able to raise money through that. I've been able to work with other nonprofits in the area where I live, and just fundraise and collect different supplies and do different drives for the homeless. So that's a really big part of the Miss America organization, and making sure that girls are getting out there and that they're volunteering and that they're being in the community and that they're helping out and making a difference.
I don't think the average person is aware of how many youth are impacted by homelessness or home insecurity. Maybe they have a place to sleep with the roof over their head, but it's not their own, and they have to keep moving around with their family from relative to relative or friend to friend, and they're classified as homeless, and there are quite a lot of them in St. Lucie County. You don't necessarily see or hear about them.
Right.
So how do you reach them?
So there is a huge homeless issue just happening not only in our county, but also just around all of Florida and nationally. So what I've done is just, one, educating people about homelessness, because a lot of people don't know that, and they also don't know just how simple of a way it is to help. So one of my favorite things to do is collect supplies to make bags to give to the homeless. So we'll collect snacks, different snack supplies and drinks that we'll put into bags that we then distribute directly to the homeless so they can have something to eat. And then we'll also collect hygiene supplies, and it could be like soaps and shampoos, and even what I like to do is save the shampoo bottles that you use when you go to a hotel, and they give you like those small ones, which are perfect because they're travel sized, and you can put those in plastic bags, and then you can give those to the homeless. And so we've partnered up with Care Bag, which is here, and we actually were able to purchase a mobile shower unit, one of the mobile shower units that they use so that the homeless can shower. So we would make hygiene bags that have soaps and shampoos and conditioners in them so that they could use those for their showers. So we like to get a lot of people involved in that, so that they can collect things, and it can be super easy and it's fun, and it's a good way for kids to get involved and to make a difference and to volunteer. So we like to do that. And then also school supplies. We've done a couple of school supplies drives, collecting like books and pencils and things that kids can use in schools that they might not have the money to be able to afford.
So you said you've partnered with Care Bags. Are there other organizations that are local that you partner with too in order to reach the homeless?
So another one of our big ones is Graceway Village, and we purchased for them a new stove for their kitchen and for their cafe, for when they prepare and cook meals for the people there at Graceway Village. So that's been a huge help, and we were really thankful and happy that we were able to do that for them, because they've been a big supporter of us, and we partnered with them a lot ever since 2011, which is when we started our nonprofit.
One of the other things that's not maybe written in your job description, but is definitely a big part of it, is the inspiration for little girls. And one of the things you did this past, the weekend before you left for the Miss Florida pageant, is you started off the little kids race at a local race, and you're out there and you have your crown on, and little girls and little boys look up to you. What do you say to them?
Yeah, well, that's one of the best parts I would say about just being a title holder, is just inspiring other kids and getting out there and being known to them. They have a role model to look up to, because I was definitely inspired by Miss Americas when I was younger, and that kind of is what inspired me to compete. So, and definitely having a title is a great way to get other kids involved and get them to make a difference. So I always hope that I'm inspiring other younger kids, and I love getting to meet all of them, and I hope that one day that they'll want to get involved in the Miss America organization too.
Or in other organizations where they can make a difference.
Yeah, and make their own nonprofits and help out.
Tell me a little bit about the friendships and the relationships you've made through the pageants.
So sisterhood is a lot of times people will think like pageants that they're mean girls.
Yeah,
and
kind of like in Miss Congeniality and
but
the movie.
It's not like that at all. All the girls are so nice, and we all look out for each other, and we're always helping each other. And being backstage at Miss Florida, it can be kind of stressful, but we're all so nice back there, and we're always helping each other zip up our dresses and spraying each other's hair and fixing each other's makeup, and we'll be like putting on each other's shoes and stuff. So it's so fun to be surrounded by so many encouraging girls, and they're all so accomplished and smart, and they all are doing so much in their own community. So it really inspires you to keep working hard and surrounding yourself by other girls who lift you up. So
do you maintain those relationships when you leave the pageant?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of the girls I've competed with before, and I've known them for a couple of years, and then there are girls that you meet there, but we're all really close, and we always are, like asking if they're going to compete next year and what locals they'll be at, so we can all meet up and have fun and compete together. And we definitely try and stay in touch afterwards. And
one of the things that's important to note is that especially at the teen level, you can't do this by yourself. So who do you, I mean, obviously your mom, because I see your mom driving you everywhere and taking you places, but you also have the rest of your family that's got to be a part of helping you to do this.
So I definitely wouldn't be able to do all of this if it wasn't for my family, and just they're always supporting and they're always in the audience. So I definitely I'm so thankful for them to just have such a family that supports me, and they always are helping me with my nonprofit and volunteering, and then always helping me with competing and that aspect. So yeah, definitely my mom has been a big help. She is always my chaperone, and then my sisters and my dad, they're always there to support. So that's always so nice.
Do you have an opportunity to do regular normal teenage things too?
Yeah, so I recently graduated high school, so I'm going into my freshman year of college, and I've been busy the last couple of months, been busy with, graduating high school and all the things and senior prom and stuff like that. So it seems like it would always take up a lot of time, and I mean it does. You have to put in a lot of effort into competing and being in the community and things like that, but there's always time for other things, and that's always really important too, is just keeping a balance of normal things and fun things to do, and then also your priorities and stuff like that.
What are some of the lessons that you've already learned that you're going to take into adulthood?
So being a part of the Miss America organization just gives you so many skills and so many things that you can use outside of competing, and that have helped me even outside of competing, and just so much confidence that you learn in public speaking and speaking in front of people, in front of kids, in front of adults, being able to talk about anything, and just learning so many skills about promoting and marketing and advertising, and like building a platform for yourself. So that's been really helpful in not just competing, but also and outside of that, and
in life
everyday
skills.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that anybody could take a lesson from too. Have you decided what your major's where you're gonna go to college? Are you gonna stay local?
Yeah, so I'm planning on going to IRC here and my major, I'm probably planning on majoring in communications.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll see where I have to go with that, but that's kind of my plan for right now.
If you are thinking about majoring in communications and you're going to be local here, the Florida Public Relations Association has a Treasure Coast chapter, and we have a student membership that is like so reasonably priced. And we would love for you to be a part of our organization. I will definitely invite you to our next event, because that's one of the things that's most important, is realizing, I think, that today's youth are tomorrow's future. I mean, you can't just. A lot of times you hear people say, "Oh, kids today, they do this, they do that," and you know, they don't go out and kick the ball outside like we used to. They sit and they play on their mobile devices, on their phones, and on their computers. But that's not everybody.
Yeah.
And so you've targeted instead. Your free time is spent in helping people and developing relationships in the community.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think you want to stay here in Florida your whole life?
I don't know. I just have to see where I go after school and in school, and I guess where I would start working and what I kind of want to do with that. So I don't know. Florida's a nice state. I'm not sure kind of what my plan is like after college and like kind of going into college. I might transfer somewhere, so I don't know. It just kind of depends.
The future is just wide open.
Yes.
It's pretty exciting at this point. What do some of your friends who were your friends before you started pageants, what do they think about all this?
Yeah, so I've had so many supportive friends that have helped me a lot. And then also it's kind of funny because not everyone knows like what that I'll compete, and I kind of have like a life that's like, oh, like normal school girl, and then they're like, oh, like you compete in pageants and do like Miss America stuff, and sometimes it kind of surprises them because I don't know, sometimes they'll be like, oh, you just don't seem like a type of person who would do that, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, they're also nice and supportive with that, so I'm glad.
And I think I told you one of the last times you were on, my college roommate at the University of Florida my freshman year was Miss Florida that year, and we were fully like 2 or 3 months into living together as college roommates before I was even aware of it. Because even back then she wasn't braggy about it. She was, I guess, you see all types when you're involved with pageantry, but the people that I've seen that have are gracious and genuine and kind, and they're not full of just what they look at and who they are, but what they can give back to others.
Yeah, I agree. Being like in the Miss America organization, you're just always, seeing what you can do for others and helping and wanting to promote your platform and just kind of always have, you want to always have a reputation of, being nice to others and kind and things like that.
What are the kind of questions that they ask you when you participate? What are they, the typical, what do you want to change about the world, or what type of questions do the judges really ask? Because really my mindset is really based on that Sandra Bullock movie, what I saw, or in any other TV show or movie that I saw that was based on pageantry.
Yeah, so it depends. There's 4 phases of competition for the teen, and it starts with interview, and you usually do that in the mornings before you compete. And for teens, it's about a 7-minute interview, and you'll have different. Sometimes the typical number of judges is 5. You'll have like about 5 judges, and they'll talk to you. They'll have your paperwork, which is a resume, and your essay about your social impact. And so they'll sometimes go off of questions based off of that about what you submitted, or they'll ask you about current events or social issues, or just really anything that they want to ask you, just to get to know you better and get to know if you're fit for the job. And then
it's almost like a job interview.
Yeah, it's exactly like a job interview. So you're being interviewed for the job, for the position, and so they'll just ask you whatever they think would help them get to know you better and kind of know if you are the right person for the job.
So winning the title isn't the end of the line, it's really the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. We always say like winning the title is just helping you, like it's just another stepping stone, but that doesn't end there. It just is kind of like a launching pad for everything else.
And what are so you said the first step is the interviews. It's about a 7-minute interview. Do you get really nervous?
So I just get really excited going into an interview because this is the one chance that you get to actually talk with the judges. So this is the one time you get to tell them, what your plans are and what you want to do and everything that you have done. So it can sometimes get I always get a little nervous going into it, but I'm more excited just to be able to finally talk with them and tell them everything that you want to do, because you don't have any other chance to talk to the judges. So that's your 7 minutes that you want to tell them that you want the job and that you're ready for it. So you want to show them everything that you can do.
Do you get any training for doing that?
So I have a lot of my directors. They're super helpful with that, and different mentors that help you in the process of going to Miss Florida and Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen. So without them, then I do not think that I would be as prepared or as ready as I have been.
I think that you've been on the radio with me maybe 2 or 3 other times, and each time it's also been with somebody else. So this is really the first time you're flying solo, and I totally noticed such a difference in the way, the calm and collected way you talk and you answer questions, and the fact that you don't wait for a question to be asked. Do you think that's with maturity, is that you've gained that?
Yeah, well, I've definitely grown just a lot in the Miss America organization over the past couple of years, just grown in, who I am and my confidence. So that has definitely, and I started this when I was pretty young at 15, and now I'm 18. So I've definitely just grown in life more.
Was there ever a time along the journey where you regretted that you were doing this, that you had second thoughts or third thoughts about it, and wished you could do a do-over? And if you did have a do-over, what would you do differently?
I mean, definitely, I don't think so. Definitely not. I've always just been so grateful to be a part of this and have this a part of my plan and kind of a part of my journey. So I have to give so much thanks or credit to the Miss America organization, because without them, I definitely would not be who I am today, and I definitely would not have the same passions and plans that I do now. So, I mean, it can get, just with anything, sometimes hard with certain things, but I definitely don't regret getting involved.
When you began and you were 15 is an age where young women are kind of awkward and gawky and maybe growing into their body and not feeling as confident. Do you think being a part of this changed that for you?
Yeah, for sure. It really gave me more of a voice to be able to use, and kind of gave me more of a platform to speak on, and just gave me for sure a lot of more self-confidence.
What's the second part then of the procedure or the process?
The competition, yeah. So after the interview, there's 3 phases of onstage competition for the teens, and that is evening gown and onstage question, which is the typical evening gown, red carpet wear that you normally would see when you kind of think of competing. So that's your chance where you get to wear a pretty gown.
That's what you typically imagine about pageantry.
Yes. And then when that competition is going on is the onstage question, and that's the only time that you talk on stage. So that's the only time the audience gets to hear you talk. So you have about 30 seconds that.
Wow, that's quick.
Well, so they're not really. Yeah, they're not really timed, but I like to just say it's an onstage question. So, and you typically pull a question out of a bowl, and then they'll ask you your question, and then you answer it. So you speak to the judges and the audience. So you don't have all day to be standing on the stage giving an answer. So that's why I just like to say around a minute or so answer.
Right.
And that's the evening on onstage question.
Is there a point where, and you've seen other people be interviewed too, is there a point where they cut you off if someone keeps going?
Well, I know definitely on the national stage and definitely in years past they'll have a timer, but typically for local and state competitions, at least for our state competition at Florida, we're, told to keep it condensed because they don't want you talking for 5 minutes, but we haven't had a timer yet.
Yeah, there's not like they don't pull you off the stage or run that music in the background that lets you know.
I haven't seen that happen yet.
Okay.
And then another part of the competition is the talent, and that's also like a big kind of factor of kind of what sets aside Miss America from a lot of the other systems or a lot of the other competitions. So we do have a talent portion of the competition, and that's when I was saying that my talent is dance. And that was one of the Miss America's talents was when it was a science experiment. So talent is always so fun to watch and participate in because I like to say it's my favorite phase of competition because it's talent and you get to see everyone else. And then the last
wait, before you go on, I was going to ask you a few questions about that, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So what's the most unusual talent you've seen?
Well, I've seen a lot of different talents. There's singing and dancing and baton
those
twirling.
Are the typical ones.
Yeah, and then musical instruments. A lot of people play. I've seen cool ones like the science experiments and speed painting. That's another
speed.
Yeah,
painting?
That's a pretty popular one. I've seen a couple girls speed paint before. Where they'll have we all have a set time for our talents, which is like a little over a minute. So they'll do like speed painting. And then I've also seen like speed writing, which is cool, where someone like made up a poem like on the spot. And I've seen people use puppets before, like I don't know, I think that's called something, but like when they use puppets. But
ventriloquism.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people do monologues and musical theater pieces and drama pieces. So it's cool.
So a variety of everything.
Yeah, variety of everything.
Do you ever want to try something else other than dance? Is there?
I was talking to my mom about this actually like yesterday, and I was saying how I'm such a dancer and I definitely couldn't do any other talent but dance. But I always say it'd be funny if the dancers all sang as their talents and the singers all tried to dance or baton twirl or something, and that would be a mess, but it would be funny.
It would be funny to watch. Does anyone ever do a comedy act?
Yeah, there's been comedy before that goes along with monologues, and some people do dramatic monologues, or they'll do self-written where they write their own poems and monologues and stuff, and so I'm sure that there's been comedy ones before.
I just happened to catch, as I was flipping through the channels the other night, a short little clip from America's Got Talent, and it was a girl. She looked like she was maybe in her early 20s, but she was a one-man band, and she was using electronics to record and then play back the entire song. And she was doing all the different instruments, and she was doing all the different parts. Do you see anybody who is using electronics to create their part of their talent?
I mean, I'm sure that there's someone out there that does. I was thinking another talent that I've seen is roller skating, actually.
Oh,
is
cool.
roller skating on stage. Yeah. But I'm not sure. I mean, not something that I've seen, but I'm sure that there's someone out there that has that as a talent.
Mallory, as part of your homework for the next competition, do you look at tapes of old contestants?
Yeah, I love watching old Miss America competitions and ones from years past, because you get to see what they did, and you get to watch who won. So I love watching there's so many of the old ones and Miss America competitions from even just a couple years ago, which is cool because you get to see how everything was kind of different then.
What's the next step in the competition? And does everybody get to do all the different steps, or does it depend on how far you go in the competition?
No, so yeah, everyone gets to compete in all phases of competition. And at the state level, Miss Florida, it usually is about 3 nights of competition, and on the finals night they'll usually call a top 15 or a top 10, which is the girls who have the highest score, and they'll all compete in everything all over again. So we have what's called prelim nights, which is what we did at Miss Florida, where the girls are split up into groups, and one group will compete on one night, the other group will compete on another night, and they'll do the whole competition, all the phases of competition, and then they'll get their scores, and then on finals night, whoever has the highest scores from competing in the prelim nights will move on and compete on finals night and do everything all over again.
Do you do exactly the same thing?
Yeah, you do exactly the same thing. So you're just scored again on
so you can
on
wear
night.
the same gown.
Yes,
You can answer.
Yeah, so everything's the same. You just do it all again on a different night.
Yeah, so what happens if, I mean, you all are teenagers. What happens if someone gets a cold or is not feeling good? And how has the pageantry adjusted for COVID and staying safe?
So we have so many great hostesses and like volunteers backstage that help us with everything. So if there's ever like a problem or an issue, they are just like on it, and they were helping us the whole week at Miss Florida with getting us like food and drinks and whatever we needed, and just helping us. So they're definitely they have great volunteers that are always helping us. And then with COVID, like before, we had that extra year. And then with COVID last year, there was a lot of different kind of protocols and precautions on just making sure that everyone stayed safe because of COVID. So that was kind of different. But this year,
do they make you test before the competition?
Well, not this year. And last year, there was testing. Like if you had gotten sick. But we've kind of gone back to normal in this past year, at least at Miss Florida. To kind of how it was before COVID. So that was kind of nice to kind of not have everything so much so when COVID was happening.
So this was your first experience with being called back to the finals, right?
Yeah. So I had a huge, I went from being a non-finalist and then to being in the top 5, which was really, which is so cool because I had, definitely worked more towards being in the top 10 or something, so it was cool this year to see the progress.
Did you have any inkling that you were doing so well until they called your name?
No, I was definitely so surprised, and it's so cool being on stage hearing your name called because there's so much excitement and all the girls are so excited, so hearing your name called is such a cool feeling.
Is your mom backstage with you, or is she in the audience?
No, our moms are all in the audience, so that's why we have all the volunteers backstage, because the parents they can't come backstage with us, so that's why we have all the hostesses, because they're our fill-in moms.
Yes, that's awesome. So after finals night, so what's the final step?
So the finals night is when everyone recompetes again, and then that's when they announce the new Miss Florida and Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen. That's when they crown her. So they'll go from a top 10 to a top 5, and then when the top 5 is called, they're called their placements for them. So that's 4th runner-up and 3rd runner-up, and then they'll have it down to the last 2, and one of them is 1st runner-up, and then one of them's the winner. So then they'll announce who wins, and then they'll crown her, and it's so much fun.
So it was down to the top 4 when you got 3rd runner-up.
Yeah, it was down to top 5. So it's 4 runner-up plus a winner, so it's 5.
And then you was when they called you as 3rd runner-up, or you were excited, but were you disappointed too that you didn't at that point?
I was so excited. I was so grateful to just have been called into top 10 and then even top 5, because I was not expecting to be called into the top 5. So, and then being 3rd runner-up was so cool, and it was just a good way to end my teen year. So I was really thankful for that.
What does the future hold?
So I'll be starting school this fall, so I'll definitely be focusing on that, and then hopefully I'm planning to compete as a Miss. So I'll have to see what local I'll compete in and what title I'll compete for that, and then hopefully I'll be able to compete as a Miss at Miss Florida, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there. So
once you compete in a local, You have to win the local to go to Miss Florida.
In order to go to Miss Florida, you have to win a local competition, win a local title.
At the Miss Florida level, how many different competitions are there?
I think at Miss Florida this year there was about 34, I think, different titles.
So more.
So the Miss have more than the teens do.
Yeah, they do. And do you see any of do you make friends with the girls from the Miss Florida pageant too?
Yeah, so with the teen and Miss division, they always make sure to keep them super connected. So as Miss South Florida teen, I have a Miss South Florida. So I've been able to, do Miss and teen things with her, which is so fun. And it's cool to be, because it's like a big sister and a little sister program thing. So, and that's how it is at Miss America's Outstanding Teen. Like the Miss America's Outstanding Teen program is the little sister to Miss America. So most of all of the teens have a Miss. So that's kind of cool to do fun things without them through the week at Miss Florida, and just appearances with them and events with them at the local level too. So,
as far as the time frame, when will the local pageants start doing is there a time frame for that?
Yeah, so now that the state competition is over, they're kind of going, it's going to be the summer, and then usually around like in the fall time is when the local season starts back up again, and it will start from like early fall to like late spring. And then Miss Florida is usually always in June, so it'll end sometime usually in like March.
So you have to have had the locals competed
before
competition
Miss Florida,
before Miss Florida. When is Miss America?
So Miss America's Outstanding Teen, which is where all the state title holders will compete, is in Dallas this year, and it's in August. And then Miss America, I think as of right now, is going to be happening in December, and that's at the Mohegan Sun, which is in Connecticut, I believe.
Why do they separate the two, to give them each their own?
Yeah, so that they
stage?
each have their own, because the teen and Miss division is very different, so they can't do it all at one time.
Right.
So they have Miss and teen at different times, so you can just focus on one.
Were there any parts in competing for Miss Teen Florida? Do you have to learn a group dance, kind of like you?
Yeah, we have an opening number, which is always pretty simple and fun, and that's what you'll do when the competition first starts. It's the very first thing. So we've had rehearsals leading up, like during Miss Florida week, we had rehearsals so that we could learn the dance, and then we perform that on stage all 3 nights of competition.
Do you have a costume for that?
Yes, we have a dress that all of us are matching in.
Now that's cute.
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
Is there anywhere that people can view tapes of the past performances?
So we did live stream the Miss Florida competition, but I don't think it's accessible now. But I'm sure, like, even just on YouTube, you can
pick up the stuff that moms have. Yeah, I know that's some of the stuff that I saw with you. You were tagged in that some other moms had
just on social media
had taken. Miss Mallory Cunningham is Miss South Florida, and she just is fresh off competing in the Miss Florida Teen pageant, where she was 3rd runner-up.
Yes.
And as we were talking about, now your job is, as a title holder, is just starting for the year, because you hold that title until the next Miss South Florida is crowned.
Yeah, so now that I'm done with Miss Florida, I'll come back to South Florida and just continue to work in the community here and represent South Florida for probably about the next few months or so until we have a new local competition.
Do you also do things with the younger kids too, with the younger competition, kind of the way the Miss competition mentors Miss Teen?
Yes. So there's a Miss and a Teen, which is the competitive divisions or groups, and then we have a program for younger kids, which is kids 5 to 12, I believe, or something like that. And then that is our Sunshine Prince and Princess program. And so it's non-competitive, it's just a mentorship program. And so our princesses will be able to come with us and do little events that we do together, like parades, and they'll be able to go on stage at Miss Florida. They also had a dance that they learned, and then they go on stage with us during our evening gown walk. So that's always fun because you get to kind of mentor a girl or a boy throughout the year, and get to take them to community events and get them to volunteer.
Was it competition for the younger kids at the local level?
No, it's non-competitive. So it's a non-competitive division. So they just have to register and sign up, and then they can.
And then they win.
Yes, and they get a crown and a sash, and they.
That's awesome.
Get to be a
very confidence building.
Yeah,
and
for
very,
sure.
Very encouraging for them to be mentored and then move on to a step where they're going to possibly look at Miss Teen. So Miss Teen starts at around 13?
Yeah, so the teen division starts at 13 and goes till 18, and then the Miss is to 18, 19 to 26. So I can keep competing in the Miss division until I either win the title or you age out. And then with the Sunshine Princess program, like a lot of the girls who've been Sunshine Princesses in the Princess program then they competed as a teen or as a Miss, and then our Miss Florida, who just gave up her title this last week, was actually a princess in the Princess program when she was younger, and then she went on to win Miss Florida. So that was kind of cool.
So yeah, it's excellent training, and also, you know, training for the young ladies to have the confidence and the poise and to be able to answer questions and start to develop their talent and decide what they want to do.
Yeah, and
when
they get
do
to
it.
see the competition from, you know, their point of view and like from a backstage point of view, and they get to really see it. So
Mallory, we just have a few more minutes. Cliff, how much longer do we have? Like 5 minutes? Oh, okay. But so I'm curious. Is this something that's really expensive to do? Is it something that you have to have a big financial investment to do that?
I mean, definitely not. I think that every girl can compete in the Miss America organization, and even if you don't win a title or you don't win the state title, doesn't mean that you aren't gonna get something out of the experience. And you don't always win on your first try, especially this past year, like the local season. I competed in 2 of them until I won. So, and even just competing at the local levels and not winning, I still got out something out of that. So having like a support system and working with sponsors and having directors can help with the costs of competing and stuff like that.
So you can get sponsors.
So we have a lot of, at the state level, we have a lot of great sponsors that help with the state title holders, and then also working as a local title holder. One of your kind of jobs is to just connect with more sponsors to get for the next girl who gets your local title and for the whole local title organization kind of as a whole.
You've always, when you go and do your work with nonprofits, you wear your crown. Mm-hmm. And so how many kids come up and ask you about it?
Yeah, so going out whenever you're wearing your crown and sash, you always just get a lot of people wanting to talk with you and know more about it, which is really good because then you get to talk about the organization and share with them about probably what they don't know about it.
One of the first shows you did with me, I remember you showed me the little box the crown came in.
I have it with me today.
You do?
Yeah.
So it's like a fancy little box. It's almost as fancy as the crown is.
Yeah.
So it's worth trying for. If you could give advice to girls or parents or families that are out there that are maybe interested in doing this, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would tell them to definitely just go for it because it changed my life, and I'm sure that it will definitely change theirs too. Even if you don't win on your first try, or it takes a couple tries to win, or you don't even end up winning the state competition at all, that it's just a really good organization, and that it's definitely worth it.
It's interesting that you say that too, because I think one of the biggest life skills is learning to deal with disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually not winning something is probably just as skill developing as the winning, and if not more so.
I agree. Yeah.
And certainly as on a stage where everybody's watching you, you have to perfect your I didn't win face. How did you handle that?
Yeah, well, like I said, like, it really is a sisterhood, so we're all super excited for each other. So when our friend won Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, like, we were all just so happy for her. So I mean, I started like crying because I was so happy for her.
So it's easy to deflect any disappointment you may have because you have that happiness for the other girls that's taking the place of it. Well, this is the first time you and I have really gotten a chance to chat in depth about the experience, and I'm so delighted that you made it to third runner-up, and I can't wait to cheer you on next year.
Thank
and
you.
Hope that that you'll move on to the state competition again, and it's interesting because, you know, I see this having open doors for you. That's beyond what you might have if you had just gone and started a nonprofit on your own, because this way you've been able to experience promoting it and promoting yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Was it hard to promote yourself? I mean, it's kind of hard to say, hey, look at me, look at me.
Yeah, so just being involved in the organization just helps you get those skills on promoting yourself and promoting your platform and kind of, building just like your brand.
And doing it in a very giving back to the community way.
Yes.
Miss Mallory Cunningham has been my guest today, and she is currently Miss South Florida and was third runner-up in the Miss Florida teen pageant that just took place last week. Mallory, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, so much fun.
We'll be back here next week with more. Have a great week.
The Sue Ellen Sanders Show. Weekends on WPSL. Go to WPSL.com, click on schedule, look at the weekends, and find the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, sometimes a couple of times during the weekend. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcasted to the world on Google Home.